conference this evening for the inauguration of Institute Technical Summer Program. I'm Deepak Malani, a PhD student in electrical engineering, and it has been my pleasure to interact a lot of students in the institute over the last 3 years that I've been here. The summers of the first year could be a very exciting period for you to get a hands-on exposure into translating your engineering learnings from the last 2 semesters worth of coursework into building something that's tangible, hardware kind of applications. So I thought I'll share my journey and the learnings from the engineering projects that I've done over the years, and some of those, if you could invite while you are going to execute your projects over the next 45 days, that could be something worthy to share about. So engineering, the word, many times I thought it was derived from the word engine, because that was probably the first engineering element I thought. But then what really engineering is to create something new, is to devise. We'll see a little more about it in the time. In my early undergraduate days, I was sitting like you here in the audience, listening to my seniors about their experiences and to help me define what kind of projects that I could take up. So these slides consist of the engineering projects that I have done through over the years, 4 different nature of projects and the learnings that I've had from them. So the early undergraduate days, just like many of you would be taking up robotics projects. So let me just get a raise of hands. How many of you have submitted abstracts that have to do with robotics? Good. So good to know that. So usually we have a fancy of something that moves. We want to build such a kind of an application. So that is what triggered me. This was a competition, a TechFest kind of a competition where we had to build a staircase climber. So we sketched various possibilities and arrived at what we felt to be an elegant solution, consisting of a hexagonal wooden block on which we had put in screws, and then 2 metal leads which would give the normal reaction when the motors on the side of the hexagonal block would move. So this was part of the competition at IIT Madras, and this, from among 120 participants or robots that came for this competition, this robot performed in the top 10. So this and the next project were my early undergraduate projects into dabbling with electronics and mechanical engineering. The second problem statement was here at TechFest, where we had to design a monkey crawling kind of a bot, which had to walk inverted on a metal rail. So what you see in the figure below is the arena structure, and what we had was the robot that we built was a heavy contraption consisting of 3 electromagnets, 1 at the center, 2 on the sides. And then a rack arrangement, which is the horizontal tooth bar, and then a pinion, which is kind of a gear. So at one point, the center magnet holds the weight of the whole chassis, while the left and the right electromagnets are not charged up. And then the pinion moves, thereby moving the rack in one direction. And then we charge up the end electromagnets, and thereby then move the center. So you have a kind of a cascade movement. So after having done these 2 projects, I had my aha moments, saying I've now got a grip of what is it about making robots. So then I thought a question for myself is, can I put my engineering applications to something that can be really used? So I got my trigger from the dentist of mine. How many of you have been visited to dentists? From among those who have raised hands, how many of you had cavity fillings? No? Oh, okay, you have a few hands up there. I used to eat a lot of sweets and did not brush at night, so resulting into quite a few dental visits that I had. So one such visit, the dentist asked me, Deepak, what do you study? I said, I study electrical engineering. I said, okay. And what do you do? I said, I am building circuits, but then I was worried, why is my dentist really asking these questions? So she said, we have this device, and which is basically a dental curing torch, which gives a blue wavelength, which cures the dental filling material. It's a kind of a resin composite. When you show blue wavelength on it, there's a chemical process called photopolymerization, which converts the soft resin material into a strong dental filling. So what you see below and onto the right are the products. So I said that till then I had just made breadboard kind of a circuit, so I thought maybe I could build a contraption, and I took a whiteboard marker and fitted my batteries and electronics and the LED and a switch, thereby making something that resembled a real-life device. I took it to the dentist just to check whether the device would really do the job. When the dentist actually saw that when this was used on the material and the material strengthened, I had my second aha moment that I've built something that's useful. And then I had my trigger saying, can I build something that I can use myself? Okay, so, and I derived my inspiration from cycling. How many of you cycle out here? How many of you have gone long trips on cycles? Wow, good. So the photo on the left is from a trip from Pune to Mahabaleshwar, about 120 kilometers that I did a couple of years ago. And on that high climb, I wanted to just track my distances that I covered and speeds that I had. So one possibility was that I could track, use a mobile application on the smartphone, keep the GPS on, and then see, track my journey. I thought, can I make something simple? I may not have access to chargers on this multi-day journey. So I built, for such kind of a cycling tour, I built a speedometer for myself and put it on the handlebar. And that's when I had my second aha moment. So, wow, I've built something that I can myself use. So these were the last couple of examples, were simple systems that I could use my immediate engineering know-how. So this one consisted of a microcontroller and then a magnetic sensor called a reed switch sensor. So if anybody who may be finding that useful into detecting the number of pulses, so we fit a magnet onto the fork, cycle fork, and we fit a sensor onto the spokes of the wheel. And then every time a magnet comes in contact with the sensor in the neighborhood of it, you get a pulse. That's how you can go about making such a system. And of course, both these projects could have been extended to making the real product. Then I thought, how about taking up adding up more complexity into my engineering projects. So that's when an opportunity came up. I was working with Philips. Philips makes products in the consumer lifestyle and consumer electronics segment. So the photo on the left gives a context of the project that I got involved in. So high definition televisions, the really large screens are getting common these days. So and it's very decent that they are also getting connectivity. But earlier, they only had the display ports, while all your video content would be on your laptops, which are the internet connected devices, or your tablets. So the project demanded that whatever we're seeing on a small screen of your tablet or your laptop needed to be shown onto a big screen, so the full family of 6 to 8 people or friends can watch it on a big screen. So that was a problem statement that Philips had identified and found a user requirement out there. And that demanded some more complex systems to be built around. So having done this and having gotten appreciation by Philips, that was my third aha moment, saying I've learned some more about how to build complex engineering systems. Having done this, then I thought, what could be next? And could I create something now with my engineering know-how, something that doesn't exist in the world? Could I be inventing something? And that's where I had my next opportunity, which would combine music and technology. How many music instrument players out here in the room? What instrument do you play?
Guitar.
Guitar. How about you? Keyboard. Any other hands that we have? Okay. So this product has elements of keyboard and a guitar. So we said that a typical orchestra setup needs multiple instruments. You have a drum kit for percussion, you have synth, synthesizer, keyboard, and the guitarists use foot pedals to give effects into your music. So we said, can we create an interface that a single guitarist can do all these three by just, without moving the hand off the guitar, by just tapping on the guitar to create percussion and scrolling, having a touch sensitive screen onto the guitar to give kind of a pedal effect. So we took up this project, and I'll now show you. So this project, we had a mix of musicians, a guitarist from Berlin, a percussionist from Canada, and a visual communication artist from Delhi. All of them having the IIT Connect. Together we built this product. So I'll show you a next 5-minute video which shows how this product performs. And this is just a glimpse of our Berlin-based teammate, Robin Sucroso, and that's the current form of the music interface that we built onto the guitar. Okay. I'll give a little more description about how this works, but I want to give you a feel of how this music instrument performs. This is a homemade video, so you get to know a little more, and this video is about user feedback that we got as a part of the product. So can I just request that for the lights to be switched off to have a good feel of the video? Sure. Yeah, I have a couple of samples of the product that you will see around being played. Can you switch off all the lights? Yes. Yeah, we have applied for a patent for this product, and to the best of our knowledge, this is a unique kind of a product that is out there in the world.
Later on, I will do some demonstration of each section and changes which should be made, and yeah, some things which are not working perfectly yet, but it's all getting there. So yeah, let's start just with the groove. So here's my looper section. I start here with the looper 1, just to record the bongos. Now I'm itching. Yeah. So now it's an overdub mode, as you see, because it's orange. If I press this button again, it's in play mode. So now I want to add some bass kick, so I go to overdub and press it again. Here's the bass kick. If I don't like what I just played, I press undo. Now the bass kick is away, but I want the bass kick. So loop 2, I record now some bass line. 2, 3, 4. So you hear some noise sometimes because I record with the laptop, and at the same time I use Ableton. That's a bit much. Yeah, cool. So now this LED is not working so correct anymore. It's not shining. So I add some strings on looper 2. Play mode. So what I did here, here's my user mode. can make some atmosphere, which you see here, on delay. Some reverb, so I have created some space.
So many of you have submitted your abstracts, all of you have submitted your abstracts from ITSP, and what I realized from yesterday's interaction with some of the teams that you've derived your inspiration from internet. People building self-balancing bot inspired by Kubli bot, which is built in one of the universities out there. So I would think internet is a good place to know about these things, but to find out engineering problems, one should try to travel around, explore and talk to people, observe your surroundings. So it could be looking at the Kanjurmarg railway station, seeing how much queue is there at the ticket counter and how much at the ticket dispensing machine. It could be looking around your mess and seeing how does the supply chain of the food really comes through onto our plate and what happens to the food that gets discarded. And then we observe these your world around you with an open mind without being biased, analyzing the important element that I felt, whereby we try to question ourselves and critique the conventional ways of doing certain things. And then having gone through these steps, if one identifies a problem, one needs to look at it in its completeness, and that's where the research element comes in, where we read, survey, and then do a brainstorming within our circles. The second set of learnings that I want to share is the process of solving. So many times you may come across while you're working the next 45 days on your project, is you may want to get some, for example, yesterday somebody wanted to build an autonomous guided vehicle and wanted to use Wi-Fi to know where a particular bot is and if it has to go to a destination, how it would reach. So there was probably a solution in search of a problem, or it was heavily biased by saying that I want to integrate Wi-Fi and hence I want to know how to use Wi-Fi in making an autonomous guided vehicle. While during discussion it's so evolved that one could just put an overhead camera and put a color, two colors onto the robot, knowing where the robot current position is, and if it has to go to another place, then a third system can, which is connected to the camera, knows where the robot current location is and can take the robot to a destination. It just means that a given observation or a given problem can be solved in multiple ways. So while you are in the process of identifying solution for the problems that you have identified, try to think simple from fundamentals and from the first principles of how you can arrive at a solution. For being able to build something hardware, it's important that we get hands-on skills, and this summer is an excellent time to get hands-on skills, and STAB and Tree Labs is organizing a workshop exclusively to address this gap. And another element that I want to highlight is to complete the loop quickly. So one may want to integrate several modules. So somebody wanted to build a smart home or home automation by integrating, motion detection, temperature detection to control air conditioner, lighting detection to know how much amount of light. So after discussion, we understood that the group could in fact take just one of those several elements that they had identified and complete the loop before adding yet another sensor into it. So that's the being able to complete the loop gives an early confidence that you now have a grip on the system, and if there are any challenges, there's enough time available for it, as against trying to integrate several modules right from the beginning and then realizing not being able to complete it in the available time window of 6 weeks that you have. It's important next to work with a team which is heterogeneous, so you can divide the work between the team members, and each member brings in learning to the others. And similarly, while you may be working on a robotics project, there will be some learnings from people who are doing aero modeling projects, for example. So go out and collaborate, give your presentation about your approach to solving your project to some other teams, while you are working on it. And you never know, you get exciting, creative ideas, simple ideas from the other teams. So. And the last set of learnings that I want to share that have enabled me to go through this engineering journey is to be able to be systematic in the documentation process. So just like throughout our schooling, we used to have these science journals. So even before starting the experiment, we would write aim, materials required, procedure, and we draw a diagram, circuit diagram, or block diagram before actually starting the experiment. Now that kind of a mode is what good scientists follow, or what even Nobel laureates say, highly stress upon. So while you're doing these engineering projects, you may feel that this is too trivial, I just connected what is there to record. But you will suddenly start to realize the power of it if you document every minute detail of your project, and any ideas that may come in. So not necessarily the final one that gets implemented, but while you're going through the process, if there are any ideas which even don't work, should get documented into a special logbook that you maintain. And at the end of 45 days, if you go back, you can be able to trace your journey of your project. And the second learning that I have in this nature is to accept that if some mistake happens, and not just not just brood over it, but fail and fail fast. So some people say even you should try to celebrate your failure, that you figured out one way that doesn't work, but there would be other ways out. So if you have understood that some way approach is not working out, quickly move on to the other approach. And lastly, while you're doing this documentation and making notes, do share your knowledge with others. So some problem that you have solved can be helpful for somebody else to in their project. So I just want to make a brief mention about the workshop that has been planned for you next week by Tree Labs and the STAT body. So we want to make hands-on electronics learning a fun exercise whereby you will be building your own amplifiers, motors, radio transmitters, and your own DC power supply that you can use at your room. More details about the workshop and look on the poster, and they have been circulated on to the Facebook as well. Okay, so just as a summary, that I want to share various learning that I've attempted to share, various learnings of my engineering journey, is to keep an open mind throughout this summer learning experience that you are here. Discuss, brainstorm, get more inputs through your friend circle, make presentations. And then while you're doing your project, be systematic while you're executing, while you're building hardware. Attempt to learn as much hands-on as you can do, and then work towards building something that at the end of 45 days, you can be at this position and tell your friend circle what you have built over this time. Wish you all the best for a great summer experience here at IIT Bombay. Thank you. If there are any questions, feel free to ask me. I'll be around, or you could